Whose vision of opposition to capitalism is it?
According to the IMF website, the Board of Governors is the highest decision-making body of the IMF.
If you want to oppose the banks, you're going to end up living in shanty towns in the town centre, you know. Is that the impression they want to, is that what they want to see?
The IMF and World Bank operates under the United Nations. The United Nations was born out of the Second World War through the Bretton Woods Agreement. Previously to that, it had been the League of Nations.
The question I have is, whose vision is it? Because when I speak to the people in there, their vision of not living without money or finding alternative solutions to the problems that we face as communities doesn't look like that, okay? They're talking about, you know, being in positions of much more joy and celebration and having a good time.
Shortly after the League of Nations was established, the Federal Reserve Act was passed in America. It was then that Congressman Charles A. Lindbergh stated this: "This act establishes the most gigantic trust on earth. When the President signs this act, the invisible government by the money power, proven to exist by the money trust investigation, will be legalized."
Do you understand what debt-based money means? Do you understand that on your note it says a promise to pay, and that when you hand it over all you get back is another promise, and that nobody ever actually gets paid?
Every $100 bill which the Federal Reserve System prints and is sold to the United States at full face value represents a $100 loan.
The Federal Reserve Act started a movement towards a fiat currency system.
It was the creation of the Federal Reserve that put the cap on this whole revolution.
Fiat money is money that has value only because of government regulation or law. Another way of looking at this is that money has no intrinsic value of itself other than that which we give it. Now, if that's the case, why are we in a recession?
How much does Greece owe, Roger?
$367 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Mostly to the other European economies.
I'm not so sure that the debt is really all that creditworthy, and I'm not sure it's going to be paid off.
Correct. How much does Ireland owe?
$865 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Other European economies, mostly.
Correct.
I don't think sales are taking place. That's why QE2 exists. They're issuing debt and printing paper and printing money because there's not the absorptive capacity of the world to absorb the debt.
Correct. And how are Germany, France and Britain going, Roger?
Well, they're struggling a bit, aren't they?
Correct. Why?
Because they've lent all these vast amounts of money to other European economies that can't possibly pay them back.
Correct. So what are they going to do?
They're going to have to bail them out.
Well, I think we do have a solution. I think the solution is inevitably that we're going to have to restructure all world debt. We're going to have to realign all global currencies.
Correct. Where are they getting the money to do that, Roger?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one.
This will result in a realignment of global, I would say, global authority.
Just a minute. What was the answer to the previous question? The question was, how can broke economies lend money to other broke economies who haven't got any money because they can't pay back the money the broke economy lent to the other broke economy and shouldn't have lent it to them in the first place because the broke economy can't pay it back?
Partnership and cooperation among nations is not a choice. It is the only way.
Correct. Why are people selling the European currency and buying the US dollar?
Because the US economy is so much stronger than the European economy.
Correct. Why is that, Roger?
Because it's owned by China.
Correct.
And when I said the words New World Order, I turned a couple of heads. A little shocking. The reminiscence of scary George Bush days.
People talked then, in 1990, of a
New World Order.
New World Order.
A New World Order.
A new world order.
There's a need for a new world order.
World order.
We have a real chance at this new world order.
A new world order.
We needed a new world order.
They can build a new world order.
It is our destiny of success in this new world order.
An order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
So, what is the New World Order?
New World Order is basically
we are the New World Order.
It's actually a New World Disorder. They're just giving it the opposite name to what it is, aren't they, really?
there's the side who wants to have a global government.
Conspiracy or cozy talking shop? The Bilderberg Group.
And unified banking and monetary system, as far as I understand it.
And they think the idea of a world government, which is what Bilderberg is into by and large, the idea of a one world community, a new world order.
What we've got at the moment is some kind of representation of a pretensive order, and what we're going to get next is a representation of proper disorder.
Claw everything together and control everybody.
The 9/11 event was built with an overarching body of lies.
Where do you see this going? We have demonstrations now, mass demonstrations in Europe, besides, of course, Middle East and North Africa, now demonstrations starting in the United States. Do you think that we're going to be seeing more of these type actions?
I think the concept truth is re-emerging, where people are saying, look, we are listening to politicians, for example, the US Congress, and all we hear is lies and we get deception. We are deceived. And therefore, we're asking questions. Through the internet, the ordinary person says or knows that a lie has been told, which was initially admitted with the weapons of mass destruction. Then you go back to 9/11 and you realize that it's a story that is a total lie, because no building self-implodes like that, and we then have to ask more questions.
Because I think it's quite interesting that there's lots and lots of really positive stuff going on around the country that is solution-based and solution-focused, and for some reason only certain ones manage to make it to the mainstream media, like this Occupy thing.
I had already met the last survivor of the World Trade Center, William Rodriguez, and had the inside story on the 9/11 scenario.
When I was pulled from the rubble on 9/11 is that there was an initial explosion on the sub-level number 2, B2. There were 6 sub-levels in the building prior to the plane hitting the building, and I believe that was an explosion set up by explosive to actually weaken the foundation.
And nothing will ever change your mind that you think?
I was there, I saved people, I actually have the people available for the 9/11 Commission. That was the commission that was created to investigate this. They were never called, not even once. They're still available 5 years after, and the government came out with an official story that went against our experience on that day.
Back in 2004, I had first become aware that something was not quite right with the story of 9/11 when I had seen Building 7 collapsing on the internet. The mainstream media had thus far failed to show any footage of Building 7 collapsing on that day.
I heard a few moments ago was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Still to this day, it has not been officially confirmed how the building came down. Yet the BBC and other news corporations were reporting how it had collapsed before it actually happened.
This was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks.
This had led to my own suspicions about the events on that day, and so I had led an investigation of my own on the internet.
I don't think there's any mistake that what's going on in Egypt or Libya or Tunisia or what's going on in Wisconsin right now are that dissimilar. They all seem to have some thread kind of in common.
This had led me to my own conclusions that there was indeed some kind of global conspiracy afoot. The reason I felt so confident to say this was because of one piece of footage that appeared just before the Bush-Kerry election in 2004.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, for we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322.
That relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret.
On intimidation instead of free choice, it is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Whilst I held a great sympathy for the protesters, I was fully aware that there were some things that a lot of people had not quite grasped.
This Occupy movement is just a portal. It's just something where people can come and air their grievances for voices that they felt are unheard until now.
It's a funny thing how all the cards seem to be falling into place, and the dominoes seem to be falling around the world at the same time. We seem to have this bubble of a population. These are the students that are coming out of college and they can't find jobs, no matter how technically competent they are or how many degrees they may have.
And these guys want to start setting up education places so you can start to have a look at what the con is and where it actually is, because this is what it's about, is the fallout of global banking, where it's all fraud.
Welcome back, everybody. Is the U.S. headed towards a potential dollar crash as we try and transition to a global economy, prepare for a new world order?
I'm all about now learning to decide whose vision am I repeating in my head. Is it somebody else's order or mine? And so my new world order is this beautiful place where, we all have this diffuse interaction with each other, and it's actually a great, mature society cultural thing. And I know that other people's perception of the new world order is something else, but actually, if you think about it, it's not your vision, is it? It's not mine. So that's not my new world order.
Back at the house, we'd had a discussion about what we thought the New World Order was for us, and I'd come up with my own ideas.
So Colin, are you going to tell us what New World Order means for you?
Well, I hear a lot of politicians talking about this New World Order, but I'm not quite sure. I think it's something to do with bringing everyone together in this big society is the other thing that I've been seeing. But I'm not sure if their idea of big society is the same as mine. I've got this idea about a true world order, which is the New World Order, because it's the New World Order because the angels sung Noel. And basically, if you get the joke, I think you're in the club. And so actually, my thing is whatever they believe this New World Order to be, is that in my vision, I've got this idea of a true world order, which is actually everyone coming together and actually creating a new civilization. Because actually there's only 4 outcomes, I think, at the moment, and one is nature destroys us. 2 is that we have a violent revolution which won't actually help anything. 3, a peaceful revolution, which means actually people just stop using the current system, and it's still going to be chaotic, I feel. Or the last situation is that we actually realise the truth, that we're all one spiritually, and that we can come together and create a new civilization with new technologies working together to create the very best for everyone.
What is the New World Order? Or what is the True World Order?
Now we get somewhere.
The New World Order is where they're going to create one currency, one singularity right through, no borders, one world, and tax everybody and make everybody work like slaves. A True World Order? No. We're going to do what we want to do.
Yes, brother. Excellent, excellent.
And so it was that a small bunch of us had come to the agreement that what we needed was a true world order.
We're going to work and do the jobs we want to do. And we're going to live free and we're going to live happily. We're going to smile and we're going to party. And that's what the true world order is.
We all agree, we naturally all arrive at that place. Yeah.
True world order.
If we were going to make the true world order happen, we would need to take to the streets and find some support for our solutions. And so it was that we found ourselves at Occupy Bristol. Okay everyone, I've been down Occupy Bristol. So here we have a load of tents on the one side, the council buildings over here. So you can see, very, very nice. I've just been walking along inside there, checking it all out, meeting some very nice people in there. Over here we have the church, and a very, very beautiful thing that is too. Now basically what we've been doing is I've just been to a General Assembly meeting, which they have here, which is like this idea of kind of direct democracy, where you put your hand up and then you can speak and say your ideas. And what it was about was a meeting that's happening tomorrow at 9 o'clock. They're coming to us with loads of agendas, like an us and them situation, but we're not actually bringing any agendas back. And what the answer was, well, we don't actually have the agendas yet. So I said, well, why don't we create an agenda board? And here it is. So this is the agenda board. The idea is that you write your agenda here. So I wrote one is, how can we harmonise our needs? So that's my little agenda. So we can write a whole list of agendas. So then when we go into their meeting, actually we can have a list of agendas. So I'm going to see if we can go and collect some more agendas up for tomorrow's meeting and see where we go from there. So it'll be good fun. Okay, catch up with you soon.
If they plant a message in my brain, it isn't my fault, I'm going insane. These people seem kind of plain, it's probably because of this Mary Jane. And if you listen to politicians' lies, and why is it a surprise we're getting corrupted in the mind? And it seems that all we're trying to prove is that we've really got nothing left to lose.
That table shouldn't be there and they should be sat among us.
Despite arriving fashionably late, the occupiers have no problem asserting their position in this meeting.
I'd be happy to arbitrate and smooth, you know, and just help keep the tension in check. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Hiya. Pretty damn well, thank you. How are you? Good.
The councillor in the rather trendy-looking tie had been sent to quell the press.
At the end, we can offer them interviews at the end. So, if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely. That's a contractual agreement, and can we agree that 100%?
Councillors.
In life, I find there are 10 times as many pockets as there are conspiracies.
The meeting was headed by various parties, including the head of the council, the dean of the church, various protesters and occupiers, and other council members, as well as the police, and also, yes, Darren Diogi, representing the People's Public Trust. Oh, and not forgetting, of course, myself, who came as, well, me.
Because I think it's an important aspect.
Yes, okay. I think what's important to say here is that this is not completely a council issue. It is an issue between the council and the cathedral.
The councillor lady seemed to be saying that she could not take any action without the consent of the church.
The cathedral could not take action without the support of the council, so it would not really be a matter for a council vote. Oh, yeah.
Well, she obviously didn't have any ideas about what to do about it. So I went over to see the dean to see if he had any better ideas.
I keep asking that question. I really hope not. What I look for is a peaceful and dignified end to at least to this particular period of the protest. We are not talking about eviction at the moment. We've made that very clear today.
Well, it must say, not a great many ideas there being channelled down through the divine. I wonder if the occupiers were having any more luck.
I have heard rumour, it's been said that we all know that the cathedral own College Green, the land itself. There has been a rumour that the council actually haven't paid their rent for 2 years. Can you elaborate, or can you confirm or deny that?
I would be horrified if that were the case, but
are you aware? Are you aware of that?
Not at all.
Ooh, true or not, rumours like that have got to hurt.
How do you feel that you've come away from the meeting today?
Well, I'm very pleased that we've got a dialogue. I would say that I would have perhaps hoped that things might have moved forward a little bit more than perhaps they did.
Let's just be a little bit cautious.
The way things were going, this was going to be a long standoff.
I'm hoping that in addressing some of those more global issues with you and being able to let you know some of the things that we're doing already, that we might come to some agreement.
In life, I find there are 10 times as many pockets as there are conspiracies.